You can feel it, can't you? It's not a sound you hear with your ears, but a frequency you feel in your gut. It's that low-level hum of anxiety that starts the moment you wake up. It's the invisible weight pressing down on your chest when you look at your phone. We call it negativity, but that word is too soft. It's too passive. What we are actually dealing with is a siege. A psychological and spiritual siege. The arguments that never end on social media. The pressure to perform, to optimize, to be perfect. The envy that stabs you when you see someone else living the life you wanted. It feels like a fog that seeps under the cracks of your door, dims your internal light, and steals your peace, piece by piece. You try to disconnect. You try to build walls. You try to think positive. But somehow, it always finds a way in. But here is the question that changes everything. What if you don't need a thicker wall? What if you don't need to hide? What if the secret to invincibility isn't about blocking the world out, but about destroying the target inside you that the world is aiming at? There is an ancient answer to this modern problem. It is not a life hack. It is not a meditation app. It is a primal, terrifying, and liberating force. A guardian so fierce, he doesn't just block negative energy, he eats it. He destroys the very root from which fear grows. They call him the Lord of Time, the destroyer of fear, the Kotwal of Kashi. This is the story of Kaal Bhairav. And if you understand his story, if you truly understand the code hidden within his legend, you don't just get protected. You become dangerous to the very things that are trying to hurt you. To understand this protection, we first have to perform an autopsy on the enemy. We have to look at negativity under a microscope, because it's not just bad vibes. It is a biological and spiritual weapon. Externally, the world is designed to drain you. We live in an attention economy that monetizes your outrage. If you are calm, you are not clicking. So the system feeds you chaos. It feeds you comparison. It shows you a curated reality where everyone is richer, happier, and more beautiful than you, leaving you feeling small, powerless, defeated. But that's just the external attack. The real betrayal? It's happening inside the fortress. It's the saboteur in your own mind. It's that voice at 3 a.m. whispering that you're a fraud. It's the anxiety that takes a tiny problem and spins it into a catastrophe. It's the bitterness that replays an insult from 10 years ago over and over again until you feel the anger fresh in your blood. And at the center of all this suffering sits one thing: the ego. The ego is the target. The ego is the part of you that craves approval, the part that feels insulted, the part that needs to be right. The ego is a magnet for negativity. It loves drama. It feeds on conflict. When someone cuts you off in traffic and it ruins your day, that is your ego bleeding. When you are paralyzed by the fear of failure, that is your ego terrified of looking bad. So, if the ego is the entry point for all pain, the only way to be truly safe is to kill the ego. This brings us to the beginning of time, to a cosmic legend that is actually a blueprint for psychological surgery. The story goes that in the beginning, there was a dispute among the Trinity, Brahma, the creator, Vishnu, the preserver, and Shiva, the destroyer. Brahma, intoxicated by his ability to create life, began to spiral. He didn't just feel powerful, he felt supreme. He felt untouchable. This wasn't just confidence. This was a cancer of the soul. It manifested physically. A fifth head sprouted from Brahma's body. This fifth head was the mouthpiece of pure, unadulterated hubris. It shouted, "I am the greatest." It insulted Lord Shiva. It disrupted the balance of the entire universe. Now, Watch what happens next, because this is the lesson. Shiva did not argue, he did not debate, he did not write a strongly worded letter. He realized that arrogance, when it reaches a certain point, cannot be reasoned with. It must be excised. From the fires of Shiva's righteous anger, a new form emerged. This was not the calm, meditative Shiva. This was a being of shadow and fire, eyes blazing like dying suns, a garland of skulls rattling around his neck, a trident in his hand. This was Kaal Bhairav. Kaal means time, the inevitable force that eats everything. Bhairav means the frightful one. He is the terrifying face of reality. Kaal Bhairav moved with the speed of thought. He approached Brahma, and with nothing but the nail of his little finger, the smallest, most insignificant movement, he sliced off that fifth head. Silence. The shouting stopped. The arrogance was severed. It was swift. It was violent. It was final. This wasn't cruelty. It was cosmic surgery. He removed the infection to save the patient. He proved that no one, not even the creator of the universe, is above the law of humility. But here is the twist. The story doesn't end with a victory lap. It descends into a nightmare, because actions have consequences, even divine actions. By cutting off the head of a Brahmin, Kaal Bhairav attracted the most terrible sin, Brahmahatya dosha. The severed skull of Brahma didn't fall to the ground. It clamped onto Kaal Bhairav's hand. It fused to his flesh. Think about that image. He is forced to carry the visible, rotting evidence of his deed everywhere he goes. He couldn't hide it. He couldn't put it down. Lord Shiva commanded him to wander, to become a beggar, to roam the three worlds with nothing but that skull as his begging bowl. So the Lord of Time became a vagabond. He walked until the stars changed in the sky. He walked through rejection, through judgment, through the desolate spaces of the universe. This was his penance. He had to feel the weight of his action. He had to burn in the fire of his own guilt. This went on for eons, until, finally, his weary feet touched the ground of Kashi, Varanasi, the city of light. The moment he entered this sacred space, something shifted in the fabric of reality. The sin, the heavy karmic shadow that had been stalking him across the universe, hit an invisible wall. It could not enter. And as Kaal Bhairav reached the banks of the holy Ganges, at a spot now called Kapala Mochana Tirtha, the skull loosened. It slipped from his hand. It shattered on the ground. He was free. In that moment of liberation, Shiva proclaimed him the Kotwal of Kashi, the chief of police, the eternal guardian. He who once carried the burden of sin now decides who is worthy of entering the city of salvation. It is said that even Death Yama himself cannot touch a soul in Kashi without Kaal Bhairav's permission. Now, strip away the myth for a second. Look at the psychology underneath. This isn't just a story about gods, it's a story about you. The severed head, that is your ego. Kaal Bhairav teaches us that the source of your suffering, that fifth head screaming, me, must be cut off, not gently removed, severed. When you destroy your need to be right, your need to be praised, your need to be superior, you become bulletproof. Insults pass through you like wind through a ghost. The skull stuck to the hand, that is accountability. We all try to run from our mistakes. We blame our parents, our bosses, the economy. We try to shake off the skull. But Bhairav teaches us that you have to carry it. You have to own your shadow. You have to acknowledge your role in your own mess. True purification only happens when you stop running and face yourself. And his form? Why is he so terrifying? Why the skulls and the snakes? He is scary because he reflects our own fears back to us. He is showing us that to be safe, you cannot be timid. You cannot be nice. You must be fierce. You must meet the terror of life with a greater terror. You must look at your anxiety and say, I am more powerful than you. So how do we apply this? How do we use the Kotwal of Kashi to protect us from the toxicity of the 21st century? We need a strategy. Here is the 4-step protocol of Kaal Bhairav. Step 1. The ego execution. The next time you feel that surge of negativity, someone disrespects you, or you feel ignored, stop. Visualize that feeling as the 5th head. It is not you, it is a parasite attached to you. Do not feed it. Do not argue back. Metaphorically, slice it off. Ask yourself, who is actually hurt right now? My soul or my image? If it's just your image, let it die. Step 2. Master the clock. Bhairav is Kaal time. Anxiety lives in the future. Regret lives in the past. Both are hallucinations. The only thing that is real is this breath. Right now. When you feel overwhelmed, snap yourself back to the immediate present. The now is the only fortress where the enemy cannot reach you. Step 3. The dog at the gate. Kaal Bhairav rides a dog. The dog represents vigilance. It hears the intruder before the intruder breaks in. Be the dog. Watch your mind. Watch what you consume. Don't let the negativity of the news or toxic people walk into your living room with muddy boots. Bark at it. Chase it away. You are the guardian of your own consciousness. Step 4. Surrender. This is the ultimate weapon. When the world is too heavy, when your strength fails, to give up. Not in defeat, but in devotion. Surrender your fear to Bhairav. Say, I cannot carry this anymore. You carry it. There is a profound power in admitting you are not in control. It destroys the last remnant of the ego, and in that empty space, grace enters. You do not need to live in fear. You do not need to be a sponge for the world's toxicity. You have a guardian, but he is not watching from the sky. He is waiting to be awakened inside your own spine. He is the fire that burns the lies. He is the courage that stands in the dark. He is the Lord of time who reminds us that this too shall pass. Invoke him, become him, and walk through the fire untouched. I want to know, what is the 5th head in your life right now? What is the one worry or fear you are ready to slice off and leave behind? Tell me in the comments. Let's start the surgery together. And if this message gave you a shield today, hit that like button and share this with someone who needs protection. Stand tall, be fierce.